Hello, everyone, and welcome. Koopa here with a bit of a public service announcement today. Right now, in August 2024, Dark and Darker is the most balanced, the most playable, the most fair, and unbroken it has ever been in its long development history. You will be forgiven for believing otherwise. You can't click through YouTube today looking for Dark and Darker content to watch without being bombarded by these clickbaity videos claiming to show you how this particular build is broken or this particular weapon and class are OP. If you click on that creator's channel, you'll likely see dozens of other videos in their catalog claiming the exact same thing, but using different builds, different classes altogether. Now, I get why this is such a popular content creator thing to do. It gets views. Dark and Darker is a difficult game to master, and there are lots of players out there looking to improve or looking for an advantage. If you find this sort of content entertaining, then don't let me dissuade you from seeking your entertainment wherever you'd like. But if you are looking to improve your play or choose a class or a build, you need to know this. These videos are low-key lying to you. You see, your class and build are a distant third factor in determining the outcome of most fights in PvP in Dark and Darker. The most significant factor in the outcome of a fight in Dark and Darker is the skill and knowledge of the player driving the character. Full stop. I enjoy watching some of these content creators play, not because of the broken build du jour, but because of their combination of mechanics, their skill, their game knowledge, and how they are able to render all of these things. I watch them to learn. Their movement, their positioning, their decision-making, and their thought process, they use all of these things to overcome tough counter matchups. I enjoy watching these mechanically gifted creators play at these high levels because of what I can learn from them. But if you are looking to improve at this game, you need to watch them in the way that I do and not listen to their advertising. When you engage with their content in this way, you'll come to realize that it's the player who is in fact OP, not the class, not the weapon, and not the build. The factors which determine the outcome of a fight in Dark and Darker are as follows. Player skill, which is greater than gear. Gear, which is greater than class and build. Plain and simple. Let me apologize to some of you who don't realize this. I'm about to tell you to eat your vegetables. Sadly, there are no shortcuts to the real progression in this game. I got into a great conversation in the comments section of my last video with a YouTube user named Twisted Brother. We had an excellent back and forth discussing progression and what makes fun in Dark and Darker. From this conversation arose a comparison of Dark and Darker and the Dark Souls games, specifically Elden Ring. And I'd like to take a moment to kind of explore this comparison in the context of this video. In Elden Ring, you unlock new weapons and you gain levels. This does improve your ability to navigate the challenges of the game. It creates a massive amount of build variety, which is fun to play with. But ultimately, the thing which governs your progression through bosses in a Souls-like game, the thing which could hold you back from beating bosses, is your skill as a player, your understanding of the general game, your game-specific knowledge, and your decision-making. This fact is also true in Dark and Darker. The fastest way to become more like your favorite creator or Twitch streamer is to accumulate precisely this in-game knowledge. Here is kind of a big picture point of view on how to do that. Step 1, you need to master the very fundamentals of the game. How to use your items, the reach and maneuvering of each particular weapon, movement skill, positioning, consumables, etc. You build upon these fundamentals with class-specific matchup knowledge, and you make good decisions about how you approach the fights with your counters and other classes. Lastly, you improve your mechanics to better execute on the decisions you make in those fights. The most powerful builds or classes or weapons in Dark and Darker are the ones you, the player, enjoy playing with the most. Run the same builds and classes and weapons to learn what their strengths are and what classes and tactics they are weak into, but mostly to maximize your enjoyment of the game while you accumulate in-game knowledge. In closing, this game has never been more balanced nor fair. We have more viable builds on all classes right now than have ever existed in the history of the game. The trend of recent balancing changes and tweaks indicate that this is likely to continue or even grow as more diverse and viable builds are included, with perks and skills kind of being brought up to a mean. Now, dear viewer, seek your entertainment wherever you'd like, but know that we're living in a time period of peak clickbait for Dark and Darker. The sad reality for you is there are no shortcuts, there are no cheat codes, nor are there broken builds that you can exploit to gain consistent results. That consistency you're looking for on YouTube and Twitch, it comes from doing the very hard work of leveling up yourself, the player. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this public service announcement. If you did, kindly like the video and continue subscribing. And until next time, Koopa out.